Hi everybody, my name is Coral and I think a few of you have definitely met me, so I just wanted to show you again how we made a fish last week. We had a fish with a big wide open mouth and big eyes. So what I've got is a big circle of clay, and you can see it was about the size of an orange, and I've squashed it out and I'm just rolling it to about the shape that I want, which is just a circle. And I'm just trying to get it to a thickness that will work, because with the hot weather you don't want to have it too thin because everything cracks. So I'm just going to make it about the size of an Oreo cookie, as they say in America. Here, what would be our equivalent? Maybe a digestive or a ginger nut. So nothing too thin, but not thick either. You can see that it's about, let's say that's about 1/4 centimetre, maybe even a bit more. So my round is now becoming too big, so let's just cut our circle from it. So I've got a bowl here, just a smallish bowl, and I'm going to cut my circle from it. I'm going to do it at one end so I can use the rest of the clay for something else, because we will need some other bits of clay. So I've just cut my circle. You can use any plastic knife, you could use the end of a tool, whatever you've got that works. Remove the rest of the clay, put it to the side, and here we are. Move my cup out of view. There we go. So I've got my round circle, and I'm just going to smooth over the top a little bit, because where I've got to put it on, where it's stuck to the wood, always sticking this clay, but wood or plastic is best to work on. And I've got a piece of old MDF here, which I found around the back. So once you've got your circle, all you're going to do is you're going to, like a Cornish pasty, you're going to fold it in half. And then when you fold it in half like that, you're going to pinch all the way around. So I'm going to do one side first, like pastry, just do pinches. And then when we come to the other side, we're not going to go all the way. So we're going to go there, and we're going to leave that much for the mouth, the big fish mouth. So if you want a bigger fish mouth, you're going to leave it even more, not do that one that I've just done there. So there we go. We've just pinched all around, and you can do it again if you want. So we won't need to use our wet brush to stick it, because it sticks pretty well when you pinched it. Now, once you've done that, in order to make the tail, I'm going to just remove that bit which I've pinched there. So I'm just going to pinch that out with my fingers, use my nails a bit each side. There we go. Just push that back in, even that out, and there we've got our tail. That was easy enough. So there we go. That's the next stage. So we've got our tail, we've got our little mouth, or a big mouth, and we've got our tail. Now, I'm going to put him down on my table, and we're going to think about doing some eyes now. Now, he wants to roll over, so I'm going to have to flatten his mouth a bit to keep him steady. Actually, I think my tail is a little bit, so I'm going to just pinch that bit off, because that's stopping him sitting flat. So I've just pinched off a bit of his tail, and I'm just going to roll it under so it doesn't, it enables me to stand him up. Otherwise, he's just going to keep toppling over. So I've just pulled a bit of the tail off. I'll pinch that back again, and you can see it's just slightly shorter. And that means he'll stand up nicely. Right. From my clay over here, I'm going to get 2 little balls going. Now, you can see they're not too big. You can have them any size you like. That's about the size of a very big pea, or a nice blueberry size. Get another one of those. Excuse me, hay fever coming in as well. Okay, that's 2 little balls, which I've rolled. They're roughly the same size, like that. So these are going to be the eyeballs. Now, to stick them on, what I've not shown you that closely before is I've got a little bowl here, and I'm just going to take a little bit of the clay. I'm going to put a little bit of my water in there. I've got a tiny bit of, actually I'll take the even wetter clay. I'm just taking a little bit, just a smidgen, put some water in it. I'm going to just make a little paste with that. Just make it a little sort of runny, smooch it down and make it just like dirty water really. And just mix that bit of clay into the paste, into the water, and that will be like our glue. And that's quite good to have on the side. So when we come to sticking bits on, you've got the clay glue, which I'll call it now, clay glue, next to you, ready to stick on. So I've just literally mixed in my, it's like a paste, my clay, my wet clay with some water. And it's not even smooth or anything like that. It's just a massive smoochy type clay. And then I'll take my toothbrush, because that roughs up the end. That roughs up the back, which means it'll stick better. So what I'll do is I'll go in my little bowl of clay paste, and I'm just going to scratch over it like that. And then I'm going to find the side that I want to put my eyeball. I've smudged over it, and I'm going to put it there on the side of his face. And I'm going to press in with my thumb, because it doesn't matter if his eye is a bit flattened. That's quite a nice look, like that. So I've stuck him on with my clay glue, and I've just pushed it in slightly. So do the same with the other side. Get the little bit of clay glue with your old toothbrush. If you haven't got an old toothbrush, you could use a fork, just as good, just to rough it up. Put the clay glue. You can see I've just roughed it up a little bit, so it looks wet and a little bit scratched. And that's what we want to stick it. And then they will stay put. And then I'm going to stick him on the other side. I'm just going to push in and squeeze my fingers from the inside and the outside. So I've got both of them on there, and I've squeezed them on. There we go. So we've got 2 eyeballs. You can see there. 1 eyeball there and 1 eyeball there. Now, you can do what you want with these eyeballs. You can either put another little indentation for the little center of the eye. So if I take one of my paintbrushes, I'm going to put on my eyeball, I'm just going to put a little eye in there. I've done that. You can see where I'm doing it. I'm just putting an eye in there. And that just makes a little more interest in that eye. I'm just going to wiggle it around so it makes the eye like that. And the other side, I'm going to do it facing me. Put the eye in, the paintbrush, wiggle it around, and there we go. We've got 2 eyes like that. Mine are a little bit uneven, but there we go. We know they're eyes. We look on the side, and they can definitely look like eyes. Right, so that's the eyes. We've got the mouth. So now we need to get some fins. So pop him down on the table again. Make sure that he sits flat. And I had some rolled up clay, and because I've got that, I'm just going to cut out a circle, very roughly, a small circle. So I'm going to take my knife. I'll show you how to do this. Just cut out a circle. Like that. It's just a small circle. You could, if you didn't have any clay rolled out, you can just take a ball of clay, flatten it, and make your circle that way. But I've got my rolled out clay, so I'm using that. Now I'm going to cut that in half along there. So I'm just going to cut that in half. There we go. So we've got 2 fins which we're going to attach to the side of him. Now you can flatten those and curl them and do whatever you want with them. I'm just going to pinch around the edge so it looks a bit more like a fishy scale on the edge, like that. That adds a bit of texture to the, and on the other one, I just put a bit of texture by doing little pinches around the edge. So that looks a bit nicer. Now, in order to stick them on, we're going to do the same thing with our clay glue. We're going to go into our little pot of clay glue, just our mixed old clay with some water. Take our toothbrush, scratch along the surface so it gives it a rough edge and it's moistened. I'm going to do it once more, and then I'm going to stick that. I'm going to put my finger inside so I can press from the in and the outside, and then I'm going to press him on like that. I'm just going to push on. I've got the finger inside to push against, and then I'm pushing it on. And I'm just going to do the other end. There we go. And I'm putting on. You don't have to put it on in the same place as me. You can put it on higher. You could put it on at an angle. I've seen some where they do it, instead of doing it flat like that, for the fish, you could do it like that, because some fish have their fins coming like that, or like that, or like flat, wherever you like. So whatever you think. That one's quite a nice space too, but I've done mine flat, so that's nicely stuck on. And if you want to just smooth, or even take your tool and just smooth a little bit so you feel like the join is solid. I've got our clay glue on there, so that's good. And also you can just put a little bit of clay glue on the actual fish body too before you stick it on. I didn't do that, but that would be really super good idea. Make sure that it actually stays stuck. So let's do that when we do the other one. I'm going to take my other one. I'm going to get my clay glue. I'm going to scratch along the surface like that with my toothbrush end, with your fork. I've got a plastic fork here, and you could do exactly the same thing. You could just scratch along. This is good because you can actually wet it as well, and I don't think the toothbrush, well, the toothbrush you could wet it too, so, with the fork. So I've roughed it up like that, and again I'm going to get my hand inside so that when I stick it I can push from the outside and push from the inside against myself. So that's an easier way of doing it. And again, I forgot to wet the actual fish, but no mind, it doesn't matter. I think it's still going to stick quite nicely because it's all quite, this clay is quite wet. So that one's that's good. And then I'm going to take just the end of my paintbrush, smooth it on, and just make sure it's nicely stuck. And from the bottom, smooth that on. And we can add a bit of shape to these fins. We can turn them up, down. You can see. There we go. You can turn them up so they look like they've been swimming, or to keep them down. They're working hard. I'm going to just pinch in again there to make sure my little scales look like they are real. And there we go, we've got our fish. So you can see you've got his fins each side, which you can turn up or down. You've got the mouth, which is big, and you've got the eyeballs. Now, I think you could even do bigger eyeballs than mine, make them really stand out. I'm going to just pull that out. Oh, his nose is coming apart there. And that side too. And that's it, that's our fish. So that's an easy one to make. So enjoy. There's your fish. And then obviously you can colour him in any colours you like, different scales, and do patterns on him too. Make nice patterns. You could do some patterns before he dries out, because obviously you only want to paint when he's fully dry. So you could, do some little patterns on the top with brushes or with anything you like, just to add some texture. So there we go, there's a fish. Good luck.